pillar of our community for our center is what we called it, and they made a contribution of $1,500. But it's not ongoing. It was just at the time we put it together, we sent it out, and people actually committed to it. And so that's how we were able to do it.
About what percentage would you say is in kind?
25%. Oh, no. Of in kind of contributions, like for speaker fees?
Or just, when you're trying to go for the SBA match, right, you have to write in how much you and where it came from, how much you make and where it came from?
Yes. I would say it's like 25%.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm. It's not too much.
What do you think makes a sustainable WBC?
Excuse me. I would want to say, to make it a sustainable WBC is the funding. I mean, the dollar-for-dollar match is very challenging. I mean, I'm just very thankful for, our operator that is carrying payroll for 3 staff members, providing us the equipment that we need to service our clients. We have a training facility here at our operators organization, and it's awesome for our trainings where we don't have to go out in the community and try to, bargain and see who would be willing to offer a space. Very visible. But to have the sustainable WC, I would say the funding. I mean, you really need to have the funding and available because you're not going to get reimbursed if you don't have that funding to show that you've spent it or raised it.
And you consider your host organization to be critical?
Oh, most definitely. Like right now, since we lost 2 main contributors, they're still carrying us. Where it's not, it's not such worry. We don't have to be so worried about how are we going to meet payroll and how are we going to cover, the lights on and everything. But to have a good sustainable WC, I think you need to have the adequate funding and a host that would be willing to carry you until you do get reimbursed. Right now we're still waiting for our 4th quarter reimbursement, and we're in our 1st quarter of our new fiscal year. So that's almost 6 months. So I would say without the funding, that's really hard to sustain your WBC.
Yeah, it sounds like it could create a working capital challenge.
Oh, most definitely. And, you start thinking about our chamber, our host, they sell memberships, for $400. So how much, you know what I mean? That not every organization has the financial capability to do that. But I'm very happy and thankful that our host is willing to do that for us.
And what additional support and resources would contribute to further growth of your WBC?
What would help us to continue the growth? I just really feel that what we're doing, it's something good that we're doing for our community and for our women-owned businesses, and I just really would love to see a full-fledged team that really can dedicate themselves fully to meet the needs. I'm not saying that we don't fully, but it's just really challenging, and when you have to multitask with everything else and the reporting as well. I understand that surveys are very important and everything, but there has to be a different way that we gather information from our clients. Like, for example, we're always randomly selected, and I'm saying OVO, right? Where we have to survey our clients, not just through one-on-one counseling, but through the trainings. If I did 123 trainings, almost 1,400 attendees, they need a spreadsheet of all of that information. So right now my host and an admin or the receptionist for our host, she's putting all of that together for me, and I'm starting for 2017. But it's really hard if you have to think about manually inputting all of that information, and they need it by a certain time frame. So that's why I always go back to having a staff member that's dedicated so they can really implement things that we're not having to balance everything that we're doing.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are wearing many, many hats.
Most definitely. And having the support of our host, whether it's with, manual data or creating a spreadsheet that has all of this listing, that's what's helpful too, because I'm not having one of my team members, and we're planning a conference for March 8th of 2018. So I would rather have them dedicate themselves on trying to recruit speakers or outreach the conference as opposed to manually, compiling that list of 1,400 people.
And getting them to respond, it sounds like.
Most definitely. And I know that the data is very critical for OBO because they use that for capturing information of what we're doing and the clients we're serving. So that the economic impact survey is another different one. And when I've spoken to other centers where some of them are statewide centers where they do have one specialist that just focuses on reporting and compiling information, which I thought, wow, that's awesome. And I told her, when did you start? And she's, because I try to learn what they're doing, see if I can help my team here. And she says, Mary Helen, I started since like July, and the report's due October 30th. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So you were juggling so many trainings, counseling, and, reporting sectors as well.
Wow. Well, this has been really, really a great interview, and we really appreciate how forthcoming you've been and willing to share everything with us. Wait, before I close, Lee or Jennifer, do you have any additional questions?
I just have one additional question, and it sort of goes to this OBO requirements. Are they onerous and counterproductive to sort of your overall mission, or is it just part of doing business for you?
Could you ask me again? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
You've mentioned a few times throughout our conversation sort of about the requirements that are placed on you by OBO for reporting requirements and some of these things. And I'm just interested, we often joke about sort of government regulations being onerous. And I guess my question is whether there's if there was an opportunity to streamline some of those regulations, if that would assist you.
Most definitely. Even when I counsel the clients and I scare them about taxes and regulations, I tell them I don't really want to tell you, but it's there and it's needed. Of course, they need it for the government side in which we understand. It's just, I think, because we're on a manual system, with our Excel sheets, and a lot of other centers use like this to share and other things like that. But if they would streamline it, I think it would be helpful. They did make the change where we went to mid-year reporting, and, you just submit 2 narratives in a year, which is okay. But I don't know. I think maybe if we broke it down in quarters, sometimes it's easier to recap a quarter as opposed to a whole year of clients that are served. Like there has to be something different than just trying to send it all at one time at the end of the year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything? I'm good. Okay, so if we have any follow-up on anything we've taken notes on, are we welcome to shoot you an email?
Oh, please do so. And please forgive me if, Emma, was I supposed to connect with you before? Or was it another Emma?
No, that was for the Necessity NWBC project.
Yes.
Oh, yes. We, that was a really interesting project. Also,